there, it is December 5th, and it is time to play Countryle. Yesterday's Countryle answer was Costa Rica, and let's learn a little bit about Costa Rica before we look for today's answer. The Republic of Costa Rica is a country in Central America, bordered by Nicaragua and Panama. Its population is around 5 million, and its capital is San Jose. The indigenous people of Costa Rica probably arrived between 10 and 7,000 BCE. Agriculture became evident about 5,000 years ago, and pottery has been discovered, also dating back about 4,000 to 5,000 years ago. The indigenous population of Costa Rica was never as established as in its surrounding countries, as it lacked a strong native civilization. Columbus was the first European to contact the region on his last voyage in 1502. During most of the colonial period, Costa Rica was a part of the Captaincy General of Guatemala, which was part of the Viceroyalty of New Spain, though it was largely autonomous. Because of its location distant from the center of New Spain and being forbidden from trade with its southern neighbor, which at the time was part of Colombia, Costa Rica was poor and isolated during the colonial period. In addition, the lack of a significant indigenous population who could be forced into labor prevented the development of a plantation economy. Thus, Costa Rica was left to largely develop on its own, separate from the rest of New Spain. On September 15, 1821, after the final Spanish defeat in the Mexican War of Independence, the authorities in Guatemala declared the independence of all Central America. Two factions emerged in Costa Rica, one of which wanted to join the Mexican Empire, and the other of which, the Republicans, wanted full independence. This led to the First Costa Rican Civil War, in which the Republicans won. Costa Rica formally withdrew from the Federal Republic of Central America in 1838 and proclaimed itself sovereign. Coffee was first planted in Costa Rica in 1808 and soon surpassed tobacco, sugar, and cacao as its primary export. Coffee remained Costa Rica's principal source of wealth well into the 20th century. It was for the purposes of efficiently transporting coffee for export that a railroad from San Jose to the port of Limon was contracted with U.S. businessman Minor C. Keith in the 1870s. The railroad was completed in 1890. Jamaican immigrants, U.S. convicts, Italians, and Chinese immigrants worked on this railroad project. Keith was granted tracts of land and a lease on the train route in exchange for his help, which he used to produce and export bananas. Bananas then came to rival coffee as the principal export of Costa Rica. Foreign-owned corporations, including the United Fruit Company, began to hold a major role in the national economy and became a symbol of the exploitative export economy. The Great Banana Strike was a major event which led to the formation of effective trade unions in Costa Rica, as the company was required to sign a collective agreement with its workers in 1938. Historically, Costa Rica has enjoyed greater peace and political stability than many of its neighbors. However, from 1917 to 1919, General Federico Tinoco Granados ruled as military dictator. Then, in 1948, José Figueres Ferrer led an armed uprising that led to a 44-day civil war resulting in over 2,000 deaths. The rebels in this civil war were victorious and formed a junta that abolished the military and oversaw the drafting of a new constitution by a democratically elected assembly. Power was then transferred to Iltilio Ulate Blanco in 1949, whom they had supported as the winner of the 1944 presidential election. Since 1953, Costa Rica has held 15 presidential elections, making it the region's most stable democratic government. Costa Rica has a tropical climate and incredible biodiversity. Costa Rica is the first tropical country to have stopped and reversed deforestation. Their economy is relatively stable. Foreign companies operate in Costa Rica's free trade zones. Well over half of that type of investment has come from the United States. The majority of the economy is supported by services. Housing is affordable, and healthcare is high quality and provided by the government at low cost. Costa Rica is also recognized for the quality of its education system. It is the most visited nation in Central America and is a pioneer of ecotourism, which draws many tourists to its extensive series of national parks and other protected areas. Costa Rica has no military, but they do have a police force. The government is a unitary presidential constitutional republic. Most Costa Ricans are white or mestizo, with small indigenous and Afro-Caribbean populations. Catholicism is the majority religion as well as the official state religion, though the Constitution guarantees freedom of religion as well. The primary language spoken in Costa Rica is Spanish. Some indigenous languages are still spoken among descendants of the indigenous peoples of the Maleku, Cabekar, Bribri, Guami, and Buglere. Costa Rican culture is largely influenced by its Spanish heritage. Its cuisine is a blend of Native American, Spanish, African, and other origins. The literacy rate in Costa Rica is approximately 97%. Life expectancy is 79.3 years, which is higher even than the United States. And on the Nicoya Peninsula, people commonly live past the age of 100. Infant mortality is 6.5 deaths per 1,000 live births. Costa Rica is often ranked one of the happiest countries in the world. It ranks 58th on the Human Development Index and 64th in nominal GDP per capita. Really was a pleasure learning about Costa Rica. I did not know most of that. I had heard the bit about it not having a military, and seems to be true. They have not had one since 1948, and it's gone quite well for them. They put the money that would have gone into the military, they put it into healthcare and education. Let's play Countryle. We'll start with Costa Rica. All right, we are going to continue to stay in the Americas. We need a country with a higher population in the southern hemisphere to the southeast. Well, more than 5 million. I feel like we recently had... Did we recently have Colombia? We did recently have Colombia. Is Brazil the nuclear option, or should I just try it? I mean, it doesn't hurt, right? Correct. All right, well, feel free to leave a comment here or on today's Wordle video, which is linked in the description, with a suggestion for a starting word for tomorrow's Wordle related to today's answer of Brazil, and I will see you then for the next Countryle.